How's everybody doing in 8th grade? This week, you guys, we're going to talk about the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. Last week, you guys did the Pythagorean theorem. So this week will actually be probably a little bit simpler since we're just going to do the converse. So let's go ahead and start looking at reviewing just a little bit of what our Pythagorean theorem means. So the a and the b in the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Those are the legs of the triangle. Those are the parts of the triangle that meet to actually form the right angle. So when you look at the right angle on these two, with the green box in the corner that shows you where your right angle is, and your legs are going to be the two lines that meet to form that. So your a and your b. So when we look at your c, the c is going to be the hypotenuse. That's the longest side of the triangle always. It's the diagonal or the slanted line. So you can draw an arrow from the right angle to the opposite side in order to find the C if you have a diagram that you're looking at. So when you look at the top one, from the right angle straight across, that's my C. The bottom triangle, from that right angle straight across, and there's my C. So our Pythagorean theorem, we're looking at a times a, because a squared plus b times b equals c times c. And so that's something that we'll use when we're trying to work with the converse theory. So converse of the Pythagorean theorem basically states if a squared plus b squared equals to c squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. So we'll spend most of our time proving that, right? Proving whether or not something is a right triangle or not. So when we need to prove that a triangle can be a right triangle, it must follow that rule. I hope you can't hear my dog sneezing in the background, but she refused to stay out of the room, so hopefully that won't show up too much. All right, so let's look at an example. So can a triangle with the side lengths of 3, 5, and 4 be a right triangle? So the first thing we're going to do, identify the two legs of the triangle. So the shorter lengths will be A and B. And then we identify our hypotenuse. So it's always going to be the longest length. So now we have A and B. They would be 3 and 4. And then our C would be 5 because 5 is the longest length. So let's look at proving it. So now we're going to go through the steps to prove it. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We substitute our values for our a, b, and c. And so you can see that there, that 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. And now we got to work on proving that. So if my a squared is 3 squared, then 3 times 3 equals 9. When I look at my b squared, I have 4 times 4 equals 16. And then when I look at my c squared, that's 5 squared. So 5 times 5 equals 25. So now I can take those values and I just plug them in those spaces where they go. So we have 9 plus 16 equals 25. So the next thing we do is we just need to check and see if 9 plus 16 is equal to 25. So 9 plus 16 is 25. It's equal to 25, so yes, we checked it out. And a triangle with side lengths of 3, 4, and 5 is a right triangle. So let's go ahead and move to a different example. So can a triangle with sides of 18, 10, and 15 be a right triangle? So same steps. We're going to identify the two legs first. Remember, those are going to be the two shortest lengths. So the 10 and the 15, those are both less than 18. So that 10 and 15, those are going to be our sides A and B. And then when we look at the hypotenuse, the number we have left over is 18, and it is the longest length. So it is the biggest number. So it's got to be our side C. So now we have A is 10, B is 15, and C is 18. So now we're just going to start working out the problem to see if it's true and it checks out. So our A squared, we're using 10. So 10 squared is 10 times 10, and that equals 100. For our b squared, we're going to do 15 times 15. So when we do 15 times 15, we get 225. For our last one, our c squared, we can do 18 squared, so meaning 18 times 18, and we get 324. So now, just like we did on the previous one, we're going to substitute the values. All right, so this becomes 100 plus 225 equals 324. So now we need to test it and make sure that it's true. So if 100 plus 225 is not 324, then our theory will not check out. It will not be a right triangle. So when we add 100 and 225, we get 325, which is not equal to 324, which means our conclusion has to be no. A triangle with side lengths of 18, 10, and 15 cannot be a right triangle. So that's basically this week for you guys. Thanks to the people who provide resources for free for us to do these presentations, because I use their slides all the time. So Slides Carnival and Unsplash, they provide resources for us that actually make things a little bit nicer for us. All right, and our little panther is walking across the screen, so I think he's ready to go, and I think I'm about ready to go too. So have an awesome Panther Day. What we will do this week is you'll have this video to kind of introduce what we're doing. You'll have a worksheet that you can fill out with Cami. So once you fill that out, you can do your answers on the computer, or you can write them in a notebook or a journal. Once you get the answers to those questions, you'll actually have a quiz to actually fill out. And for the quiz, that's the part that's going to be graded. So you'll transfer, it's almost like an answer document. So treat it like an answer document, fill in your answers on the quiz, and that will be your grade. All right, so if y'all don't have anything else, have a great day, and I will talk to you guys on Zoom.